Right. What do you think our state needs to be like Texas, to be like Arizona, striving states that are hiring people? Even Florida, of course, their budget might not be balanced, but they are striving. They're showing progression. How do we get our state to be like that?
Sure. Well, we unfortunately have one disadvantage that Texas and Arizona don't necessarily suffer from, and that is that it gets bone-chilling cold here for about 3 months of the year. And people like the warm weather, and I've got a friend in Washington, D.C., who gives me grief every couple of weeks because he talks to me that he likes Michigan and he likes me, but he'll never come visit because it's too gray up here. And if you look outside today, it's another gray Michigan
day. Right.
But yes, weather aside, I know that Texas as a state has been very open in trying to embrace new businesses and new technologies. In fact, they're taking advantage of an opportunity right now that I think we as a society, as a community, need to be taking advantage of. They're installing alternative energy installations, wind farms, on a large scale in Texas.
Okay.
And they're seeing jobs and alternative energy coming out of it. They're seeing new opportunities for education coming out of it. And we, as Muskegon, have the opportunity to become a leader in this alternative energy world.
Right.
We can either become a consumer because it's coming. Texas is producing it. It's being produced on the East Coast.
Right.
We can become a consumer. We can become a producer, and 15 years from now throw up a few windmills somewhere and just kind of produce a little bit.
Right.
Or if we move soon and move intelligently, we can become a leader in this industry.
Right. So support windmills or wind turbines off the water, offshore.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And also understand that I've described the workforce in Muskegon kind of like a ratchet, all right? And for many, many years, we had the kind of industrial trades that allowed us to interface with the society. Well, now it's like we no longer have the right bit to interface with society. We still have an incredibly powerful tool in the working people of Muskegon, but they can't get any grip on the current economy.
Right.
We can change that. We can do things like encourage adaptability in business. It's as a scholar of political science and somebody who's involved with international relations, we enjoyed such a huge advantage in this country for close to 50 years in comparison to our foreign competitors.
Right.
That we did get complacent in our industrial practices. We presumed that we would always dominate the market.
Right.
Well, now we have a situation where other countries are catching up. And the standard of living here in America, you've got to make what, $25 an hour, really, if you want to be able to support a family and do all the things that are kind of part of the American dream,
Right.
the house and the boat and the cabin or something like that.
Right.
Well, the thing is, you can make a living wage in Bangladesh at $5 an hour.
Right.
And now that they have the capacity to produce like we do, companies who are competing internationally have the same inputs. It costs the same to make something there as it does here.
Right.
The difference is the transportation and the cost of human capital.
Right.
And so we have to understand that as much as we criticize countries for outsourcing these jobs and moving these things around,
Right.
it's becoming an economic reality that we can't avoid.
Right.
But what we can do is we can take advantage of American entrepreneurism, American technology, American ingenuity, and the strength of the American worker to start staying ahead of the game. For instance, alternative energy is a new industry. There are different parts of computerized technology that are new industries. There are different things like the 4-2 energy plant, which are new industries.
Right.
And for the next 10, 15, 20 years, if we move quickly, we'll gain an advantage in the production and the construction of these resources.
Right.
And we'll be able to be sole producers again.
Right.
And then we have to be ready to adapt to the next thing that comes down the line.
Right. Before we go, what about endorsements? You got any endorsements you want to mention?
I have not been focusing my campaign on endorsements, and I know that sounds kind of odd. I've been calling people, I've been hitting the doors and trying to talk to people individually, personally. I know that some people put a lot of stock into who in the community has decided they're going to support you. And it's been my opinion that I would rather have 10,000 people out in the community who know who I am and what I'm about than having simply a few people out there. As a political science instructor, I know that being informed and making effective decisions is such a critical part of our democracy I don't necessarily solicit endorsements because I want individuals to have the information they need, not just go off the word of somebody else. So that's been my philosophy. Now, of course, I will certainly accept endorsements, but it's not something that I am striving to achieve. I'm striving to make the common person know who I am, what I'm about, and what this campaign is really all about.
How can they find out more about you?
They can check my website at www.davidtakitaki.com. They can look me up on Facebook. They can stop by our office. We've got an office at 2116B Apple Avenue. It's right next to the old Meyer Cleaners there on the north side of Apple, just past Quarter Line.
Okay.
They can contact us. My phone, it's 231-747-7988. Or they can get a hold of me personally by my personal email through the campaign, which is just david@davidtakitaki.com. That's David, TAKITAKI.com.
All right. Thanks for stopping by. We're definitely going to have you back. I'm going to be working on a forum. I want to get all the candidates together. I would love to have y'all together.
I would be happy to participate.
And take questions from the community. And as we get close, crucial election coming up in August. Thanks, Davis. Thanks for stopping by.
And thanks for having me.
All right. Be right back, Muskegon. We're going to talk to Jason from the MATS bus system. Find out how the load factors, how are we doing with the late night service now. It's The Pulse, brought to you by Grand Valley State University and our friends at Muskegon Tribune newspaper.